Right now on Amplified.
My college placement for the 9 months, I made the decision that I wanted to broaden my horizon and go to a different company and experience other things as well. And that really led to great opportunities. I was able to go on training courses for robotics and stuff.
Hi there, my name is Dusty Rhodes and you're welcome to Amplify, the Engineer's Journal podcast and the second in our special mini-series, An Engineer Like Me. Today we're talking about making an impact during your studies, looking at how current students can maximise their time in uni, how to build a compelling CV and gain valuable industry experience before you graduate. To guide us, we're joined by two exceptional student engineers, Ena O'Driscoll, a mechanical engineering student at MTU Cork and student ambassador at PM Group, and Sean Ryan, an automation engineering student at SETU and a student engineer at Jabil as well. Ena and Sean, you're both very welcome.
Thanks, Dusty.
Thanks for having us.
Just why did you choose engineering? Sean, do you want to give that a shot?
I think I've always been, I worked on a farm and grown up around machinery and stuff. I've always been interested in machinery and stuff like that. So I think I was always going to choose engineering even when I was doing my leaving cert, say. But when I did come to Waterford, which was close to home, so it made the commuting and all easy, I done a common entry engineering course, so I was able to do flavours of all different types of engineering. So I done electrical, electronic, civil, sustainable energy and automation, and then at the end of that we split again, where I picked the major in automation engineering, which kind of attracted me because I like the whole idea of like in where the world's going. I like the idea of software and like hardware coming together and working on machines that way, because I think that's the way things are going. Automation and stuff is really the future, high volume production like, so.
Absolutely. How about yourself, Ena?
I suppose from an early age, I've always enjoyed like maths, physics, anything, I suppose, problem solving wise. And I suppose I've always wanted to be an engineer since like probably around 14 when I did an interview. I interviewed one of my dad's best friends and he's a civil engineer, and I just started thinking engineering. I suppose then I got into the mechanical side of it because of my godfather. I guess he kind of inspired me, and I don't know, I just guess that being able to go into such a diverse range of different areas and the possibilities with, I suppose, mechanical engineering is just, I suppose the world is at my feet, I suppose, and no, it's great as well too, I suppose, guess more females as well in engineering, and I suppose I'm glad to be one of them.
Listen, can I ask you about that? Because this comes up all the time on the podcast. Like, you know, in the engineering business, around 11% of the workforce in engineering is females. And they're kind of going, yeah, we need more in there. Now, you met people in your life who were engineers, and I suppose that would have an influence on you. Kind of, wow, I like the sound of that. Was there anything in school that kind of equally sparked your brain to kind of go, this looks interesting?
You know what, funny enough, yeah, definitely during my, I suppose, like leaving cert cycle, my secondary school was actually really good in terms of promoting STEM. Like I went to an all-girls school and through secondary, and we had this kind of group called Female Lead, and every couple of weeks or whatever, there was a team of us, we were with our vice principals, we'd have these different people come in and talk about like just different areas. And I remember my aunt, who's also an engineer, I'm surrounded by engineers. I asked her to give a talk to us and just being encouraged to, do the STEM subjects. And unfortunately, there's no engineering subject, but definitely being, I suppose, encouraged to go and do STEM and go and do kind of engineering as a career was definitely encouraged. And I'd say out of maybe 128, I think there was around maybe 12 to 15 who went into some sort of engineering out of us all. So a high number.
So when you're talking to other females, just to look at it on a gender basis, I mean, what do you say to them when you're kind of saying, well, have you thought about engineering?
I will definitely 100% say that. And I remember going in my first day, there was only 4 of us starting off as straight mechanical engineers out of 45. And definitely the ratio was like, oh, wow. And I knew it, to be fair. I knew that going in. And I suppose where I really found the encouragement was through the different lectures that I had. And I definitely, speaking to many girls, I went into my secondary school during the year and I gave a talk on engineering. And I just said that there is the support within the colleges, whether that's through societies, getting mentorship, I suppose, through like older people, like in the years ahead of you, there'll always be someone that you can go to kind of get that reassurance, get that guidance. Even within my own college, they're really supportive in terms of getting females and progressing, I suppose, as an engineering student, and that potentially, or after then, I suppose, your career as an engineer. Like I went during the year, I had the opportunity of going to the Society of Women Engineers over in Prague. So it was a big opportunity myself. And one of my classmates, we were asked to, I suppose, apply to it. And it was based on a huge like group project. And we had to design up a poster. And we ended up both getting it. We were delighted about it. And just to be in a room, just everyone was female. And there was, a good few hundred. There would have been like 400 or 500 at this. And just to have that encouragement, and there's kind of like I guess there's a lot of dopamine coming out from it. You're like, wow, I'm actually surrounded by heaps and heaps of females, and it's really encouraging, I suppose, and definitely
that's human nature, isn't it? Like,
yeah, definitely,
that's how it goes.
So it's really good.
So bring me up to the speed where you guys are today. So you've decided to do engineering. You're now coming to the end of your respective courses. Sean, tell me what you're doing and what's next for you.
So I'm in my final year of automation engineer level 8 in Waterford. So hopefully I'll be graduating by next May and I'll be able to continue on. At the moment, I'm currently working as a controls and automation engineer student for Jabil Healthcare, which is ideal because it's only really 2 minutes walk from my college, and I'm able to go in there part-time and the hours are flexible, which is amazing. So I think hopefully I would like to get into more of a controls and programmer sort of a role rather than more the manufacturing side of automation where you're kind of working and continuously improving the line. I'd rather be at the starting point of a machine builder type of a role, design, build a program, and give it to other companies like the big pharma and medical device companies around here in Waterford. And because I am a farmer as well, I'll be trying to stay local to the southeast as I can. And once I graduate at level 8, I'll be able to do my green cert, which I will require as a farmer for only 1 year online, where if I chose it straight away, I'd have to do it over 2 years. So that's helped me that way.
So it sounds like kind of you went into engineering and there's like a huge range of opportunities in engineering, like almost unlimited, but you've whittled it down to automation.
Yeah.
But even within automation, you still got a whole load of choices.
There's still loads of choice. And even before I even started in Jabil Healthcare, I done 2 years in Integer, another medical device company right but near me in my local town in New Ross, where they make guide wires for stents and stuff. So even there I worked closely with the machine building department in there, and that really brought me my interest. And when it came to my college placement for the 9 months last semester in third year, I was thinking, maybe I'll go back there, but I made the decision that I wanted to broaden my horizon and go to a different company and experience other things as well. And that really led to great opportunities. I was able to go on training courses for robotics and stuff. One specifically, the Omnicore robotic ABB training, which was amazing. And I was able to even travel to Switzerland and stuff to a machine builders from my company on placement. So it was a great decision. I made got great benefits from it, and I'm still there part-time in my final year.
Ena, where are you now and what's next for you?
I suppose this year is just mainly, normal study, but I am on the side, I suppose, a brand ambassador with the PM Group. PM Group is a project delivery specialist, so they have loads of major clients. And I suppose I did a summer internship with them when I was in second year, and I finished my 8-month placement with them at the end of August. So I always say I liked it too much. I said I'd be a brand ambassador and promote PM Group. So it's a great company. Again, really, I suppose, really supportive in developing one's, I suppose, career. Has a great female to male ratio. I think there's around 45% are females that are employed, which is great considering there's only 11 or 12, I think you had said, percent working who are females. No, it's great now, to be fair, and I really, really enjoy the kind of work I'd be doing. I set up the different small events and kind of bring PM group into whatever kind of events we're doing within our mechanical biomedical engineering society. So for instance, we had a master's talk there about 2 or 3 weeks ago, just to talk about the benefits and maybe the reasons why you wouldn't choose to do a master's, I guess. I brought in like 2 representatives from PM Group, a hiring manager, and then someone in early talent acquisition. So just to talk about the different benefits. And I suppose it's a way of getting PM Group's name out there again as well. So I'm delighted to be able to do that for them.
So listen, tell me, both of you have mentioned that you're working with actual firms as interns, you're getting kind of real life experience. Tell me more about that, Ena, about your experience with PM Group.
Well, in my first stint, I suppose, of being on internship, I was mainly in the office and working, I suppose, remotely and trying to gain up experience, I suppose, in more of a mechanical engineering role. My previous jobs were in different engineering firms, but I was more so kind of doing, bits here and there, and it wasn't necessarily in my field of expertise or like field of like learning, I suppose. But I was kind of working on like equipment packages and talking to the vendors, discussing what types of, I suppose, equipment they prefer and what vendors they'd like to look at. And then I suppose during placement, I was based on a site and I got a load more experience. I suppose they always say, or they always would have said, like, you gain your experience on site. And during my like summer placement, I wasn't on site at all. I visited one site one day, and I was like, oh, that's grand, whatever. But I always kind of took it like, great, you learn more, but I'm in the office, so And then when I was on site, then I was like, wow, I can really see, like, you talk about valves, let's say, or pipes, and you can actually see it out in the open, and you're like, whoa, okay, this is different, and you're taking in things like that. So I suppose it's been great, and I suppose as well, I really enjoy the culture, the different diverse projects you get to go on, and I worked with around 3 or 4 different clients, and it was a great experience.
John, tell me, how did you get involved with your engineering firm, and what practical experience are you getting there?
Well, I think just on college workplace, and we just had to go place, and we in the southeast near our college, there's just so much companies around us that there was more choice than there was students of us to go on placement. So some of us got called for interviews, and Jabil was one of the first that called for an interview, and I interviewed and I got it fairly soon after my interview, and then I would have started work there in January. So it was great to actually, something that was really beneficial to me was that when I joined, I was an automation controlled engineering type of student, and I was also another student that came on placement from my college was a mechanical engineering and manufacturing student. So together, the two of us kind of worked as a kind of a team, where in our place, every line, there's kind of 2 engineers to a production line. So the two of us worked as a team together, Natalia, and 2 of us being from different backgrounds, we were able to attack problems together with both of our skill sets and knowledge, which was really great, and we were able to achieve great things together.
Can I ask you, with the internship, are you given like real world, real life things to work on, or is it kind of, bit of theoretical work in the background?
Oh no, for us, we were definitely given some work to work on. Like, we're working from day one. So initially, it would have started off with helping other engineers in the facility and helping them. So one of the first things we done was carried out a study. There was parts that weren't welding together properly. There was specific sections that were the biggest, I think, made up like 80% of the problem. And we were, through our study of that process, we were able to find that quadrant that was the problem and implement that change. And then after that, we got various projects to work on. And I myself, from my background, I've worked on various robots on site in there, probably more so than even some of the more qualified engineers there. Like, I'd be quite young, but I'm heads in programming and working on troubleshooting robots and stuff. Also, just through my background, I've written some like programming scripts to automate some of the processes and work on the database side. So it's great to almost have digital twins over production lines through like Power BI and stuff, so you can analyze how the days go and find those problem areas. So allowing even the technicians to troubleshoot and do preventive maintenance before it becomes an issue.
It's fantastic having that real world skill and you're actually given a real problem to work on. Ena, have you had that experience with PM Group?
Definitely, yeah. Especially, I suppose, when I was on site with the company, with the client, I suppose they wanted to, they noticed one of the days, let's say a pipe header was rotting and they wanted to replace it, and they had different calculations and different specs that they wanted to change, and just seeing that like you're actually making a difference to something that's so close, to the eye that you can see, right, this is where this, I suppose, is going to make a difference, and be able to fix the pipeline is great, and that's definitely a real world kind of problem solving.
That looks amazing when you're putting your CV together, because you're saying, I've done all of this in college, but then I have all of this real world experience, which is hugely beneficial to anybody who's going to employ you after college.
Yeah, I even found out when I was interviewing for my actual placement, because I had the previous work done in Integer as a controls engineer, that like you're kind of talking away and talking about your subjects in college, and then you're talking about some project done in college, but then the minute you mention some project that I done for the other company, they're like, oh, okay, that's very interesting. Things that actually went live on the line that were and still in existence today. Like,
so are you saying, Sean, that you find there's a big difference between what you learn in theory and then what is in practice on site?
Well, I think it's almost more so that like in companies like that, you have the facility to put things into action. Like in college, just due to costs and availability and stuff, like some of the things we do are more simulations and will work in real world examples, but it's great to actually be able to implement it in real life, use the actual PLCs and see the parts move and see it actually in production. Like,
another great thing to get ahead with real world experience is to show off skills as a leader. And Ena, you're doing this in PM Group where you're student ambassador. Can you tell me about that role and what you do?
Yeah, I suppose definitely by promoting, I suppose, PM Group, it is showing, I suppose, leadership in the sense of there's other more, let's say, I suppose they be younger years, one of the other fellow brand ambassadors. So I suppose I'd be taking on a bit of a lead and being more of the point of contact for PM Group. I know with the Women in STEM, let's say, society, they reached out to me as I suppose the core person. I was able to kind of set up a PM Group Why STEM Information Day, and we only had it last Thursday, and it was a great opportunity, I suppose, to get PM Group's name out there, and we were able to discuss the grad program and I suppose my experience as well as a mechanical engineering intern and placement student. So I guess it was a great opportunity to do that. And as well, in terms of leadership, I've gained experience over the years with leading other projects. With all of that knowledge and skills built up, it definitely helped with PM Group and being a brand ambassador.
I had a boss of mine who gave me some really good advice once upon a time. He says, if you want to move up somewhere, you've got to tell the people upstairs that you want to move up. Because if they don't know, they're going, they're happy where they are. Can I ask you though about, I want to ask you about this, Sean, but Ena first. Managing your time, because I mean, you've got a whole load of time that you have to devote to studies, but now you've got you're doing the internship like Sean, and then you've got the whole student ambassador thing on top of it. What's your secret for managing your time?
I will say first, it can be so hard. Being brutally honest here, it can be so hard to deal with. Really what I find is if I have like a list of things, either mentally or physically down on a piece of paper, of the things I actually need to get done, I find that just easy thing. And then literally, I have to physically highlight things off to say, right, this is done. I can forget about it. Really starting some of the work early, whether that's like exam prep or, sending emails off a bit earlier than what, let's say, is necessary, or scheduling emails, all those kind of things. They do add up in the long term. And definitely with some of the assessments we'll be doing in college, it's a lot of it is like project based. So we have a group project, and I suppose it's a matter of like relying on your teammates and saying, look, I know, let's say last week I was exceptionally busy. I was just flat out with multiple different things, assignments and projects and other external activities going on. And I just said, look, I can't do as much here this week, or I can't do as much today. I will be doing my own work in the background. I just need a little bit basically of a support. They were very much so more than willing to help and, saying like, right, get this off your plate, and, so you'll be under a little bit less pressure. And it's important to have people who are understanding, because it does make a difference in helping how to be able to time manage and being able to have that support. And if there's some time that they need more support, then, and if I have a little bit less to do, I can take on their bit. So it's just a matter of kind of finding that balance, I suppose, between the members. Yeah.
Sean, how about yourself? How do you manage your time? What are your tips and tricks?
Yeah, so I think I'm lucky with my internship placements, kind of that I got to stay on there part-time, and they're very flexible with my hours and stuff. So I can come and go kind of as I please and do as minimum of 8 hours, but I can do more if I feel I have the time. And it's actually in my final year, our Friday is dedicated fully to our final year project. So we've no lectures on Friday. So that's kind of a day where I can commit to do my project, or I could go to work and do that. So I kind of go to work on the Friday and then commit my Saturday and Sunday to do my project work, which is great. And that flexibility. And also I'm a student ambassador for Engineers Ireland for the second time this year. So I'm trying to organise events for that. And there was an article that went out in the Irish Independent this year, and one of the other people that was featured in the article reached out to me about the Southeast Young Engineering Society, and I actually become the chairperson for that society this year. So I took on more than I this year again, and we're organising events and stuff, but in that it's great to have, there's a committee of us that we can all lean on. So if I kind of take a week off, I have other members that they're organising, and we've organised pub quiz and stuff, and we're organising a few site visits, and it's a great community to even be in, to have the various types of engineering as well.
Can I ask you about that? Because it's kind of, you have a huge amount on your plate, and it sounds like you're outgoing like 7 days a week.
Even Saturday I was up at the rugby match, and when the rugby match ended I was in the back seat of the car going home, and I whipping out my phone, typing up some bullet points of what I was going to put in my lit review, because I'm taking Saturday off now. I was like, okay, commit on Sunday now. Lots of work to be done. Can
I ask you both then, because you both are like highly involved in this on a 7 day a week basis, and when you're coming from secondary school and kind of going into university, it's a whole new world, and it's like, what? 7 days? Are you bananas? Do you find that it's just a whole load of work, but it's a means to an end to get a good job? Or is this something that you're just passionate about and it's not work, it's just something that you enjoy so much you do it every day?
I think like enjoying it is a real big part. Like the assignments we get are interesting, and even in my college, I think all my modules this semester are 50% project work, CA, and then an exam. So even that's great. You can break the camel's back and get your assignments, and then your 2-hour exam is kind of almost your bulking build up your grade, but you're trying to almost go in knowing you've passed your module at least, and you can bulk it up then. So that's kind of helpful. Like, so just kind of constantly working on the assignments that you're actually interested in, interacting with stuff. It's great to see that stuff.
Brilliant. So that's working well for you. And you've mentioned the social side of it, Sean. How's the social side of it for you, Ena?
Similar to Sean, I'm involved in like Engineers Ireland. I'm a student ambassador for the 3rd year in a row with Engineers Ireland. So for my college, I actually joined our equivalent of Cork, so the Young Engineers Society in the Cork region. I was an M2 rep, I suppose, and this year I've actually taken on the role of a PRO, so Public Relations Officer. So I've also taken up that job within our own Mechanical Biomedical Engineering Society. It's a great opportunity to be able to get my social media skills up to date and that. So I suppose it's good. Like I do enjoy the scope of work and getting involved in the social aspects. I think they're really important. Like personally, I think it's an important aspect of college. And I suppose as you were saying, like having the different jumps, I suppose going from secondary school to college, college isn't all about work, the heads down. You know, it's about obviously the academic aspect is so important. But ultimately, I think finding that balance between getting a chance to obviously do your academics, but also having a chance to socialize with your peers, because ultimately in 6 years down the line, you're going to be working with people, and, you know, being able to communicate and being able to socialize is just so important.
Do you find that it's easier to make friends with like-minded people?
Definitely. 100%. Yeah.
definitely.
Both of you mentioned as well, Engineers Ireland and being part of the Young Engineers Society. Now, a lot of people kind of listening, especially who are thinking of engineering as a career, will kind of think, what the hell are you doing in a society? You're still in college. How does this work and what are the benefits of it?
Well, I think it's a kind of a social kind of group where with like-minded people, and it's true, like we are the Southeast Society of the Young Engineers. Like we're trying to organise site visits and stuff, and it's great to give people the opportunity to actually see things in action and get out of college and see what they're doing in college and what jobs they can get. And like we're planning to go to a stainless steel production place and a power plant. So even like a wider range. Like I'm doing automation engineering, but I've interest in various industries and stuff. And we're even planning on going to an agricultural machinery building place. So that's really like I can see loads of stuff I'm interested in there. Like, but it's just great to have the social side of it as well. And I think even it's kind of lucky that with last semester and third year we had our college work placement, so you're kind of able to build up money, and you don't have to work as much on the weekend because of that. So like in my previous 4 years or 3 years, I would have been working on the weekends to make money to fund myself in college, where I had the 9 months placement that allowed for me to build up that money, so I don't need to do it the weekends now, and that's right at the time to commit to the college project work and stuff. It's kind of nearly a swap out that way.
Just so I'm clear then, the placement that you have, is it a paid placement?
Yes, paid placement, yeah.
And is that the same for you, Ena?
Yes, yeah, it is.
That changes everything, doesn't it? No, good stuff.
Our college, I think we're very encouraged. I think some people you could interview for and they might want to pay, and our college wouldn't like you to go there even. They encourage us.
Ena, on the social side of things and sticking with the Engineers Ireland, the Young Engineers Society, in your part of the country, are there events local to you, and how do you find them useful?
Definitely, there's loads of events every few weeks. So about 3 weeks ago, we would have had a pub quiz. So I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, the Waterford team won.
The Waterford Kirby Dan. Yeah. So it was Dublin, Waterford and Cork, I think. Yeah.
Dublin, Waterford, Cork and the Thomond region, which is like Limerick kind of side of.
So I suppose we all got together and we were in, well, personally, I suppose Cork, we're in it's called Café de Pêche. So it was a kind of cafe bar, kind of it's a bit of both. But anyway, it was great turnout anyway. That was great. And I suppose, unfortunately I wasn't able to make it. In the city hall nearby, they had a stall, and I suppose it was a chance for, I suppose young children, students and their parents to kind of wander around and have a look and ask questions about engineering and, what is it like to be involved in engineering in whether college or Engineers Ireland. So it was a great opportunity to, I suppose, socialise and being able to promote Engineers Ireland in that regard.
Yeah, I even found that I was at the BT Scientists Awards last year. I stand at the STEP stand, which is kind of Engineers Ireland's sub-committee, I suppose, aiming at primary school children and TY. And I found that there was 2 other people with us that were working in Engineers Ireland full-time jobs. But me and another guy were the ones getting asked more questions because I suppose we're younger and we're closer to age to those people, so we're nearly more approachable, and we had experience and stuff as well. So they're great to listen to that way as well.
100%.
We seem to be talking a lot about internships and being part of the Engineers Ireland Young Engineers Society and everything, which is fantastic. The internships I didn't realise could be paid positions, which kind of puts an almost completely different slant on it. But obviously, if you're going for that, then it kicks up the level of getting the internship in the first place. And I presume you have to go through an application process and then the interview process then as well. So, I mean, do either of you have any tips for creating a standout CV?
Yeah, as well, actually, yesterday I was only helping my sister update her own CV. So, of all the tips and tricks, definitely what I found was from PM Group side, I can kind of talk about what they definitely look for in a CV. I suppose anything that's like different, and I know that's very generic, but anything that will make you stand out, like whether that's awards, volunteering experience, anything like I suppose anything that sets you apart from the average person, I don't mean average person, but like, I suppose something different, like, yeah, something from the crowd a bit, and getting involved in your, let's say, even within your own college, like being involved in different committees, being a student class rep, anything like that. I suppose it shows, even with the student class rep, it shows a bit of leadership. Volunteering, it shows you're able to go out there, you're able to help people. You're not like a Mayfain, or, you know, you are wanting to help for the benefit of the person. Obviously being able to achieve like scholarships or I suppose any awards, it shows that, you know, you're highly thought of, and I suppose it does set you apart from the average person, and you kind of give a bit of a wow factor then, I suppose, to the company you're trying to get hired into.
So don't just go with the usual facts, try and get in something different in there. Show them with yourself.
Yeah, I kind of be the same approach. Like, I generally kind of, you know, look up what company you're interviewing for and try. I wouldn't never have the same CV. Even I'd, depending on what job I'm applying for, I'd shape it slightly and try highlight the things in my CV that would be like that. So if it's more of a controls engineering role, I'd highlight more projects that I've done programming wise than building or designing per se. And also, like, I found in my interview for Jabil for placement that something that stood out to them was that I was part of my college rugby team and rugby team for the club as well. Like, but even that itself shows like that you have teamwork and you can build together and even go to your training and stuff. Like, you a bit of time management shows you're not just, you know, you could get great grades in college, but being able to even show that you can apply what you're learning is a big section. So I have like probably a quarter of my CV was a project section, really.
I'm learning from both of you. So for example, if during my secondary school I was working in McDonald's, there's no point in putting that onto the CV because it's just like, it's not relevant, which is what Sean says. But if I was a team leader or ended up being the youngest manager ever in a McDonald's thing, that's worth including, because then, as Ena says, that shows that you're a team leader and that you're excelling at something. So it's that kind of a difference to think of.
Mm-hmm, definitely.
Well, I think putting down your work placement is important. Like, I suppose I was kind of lucky that I was able to get into Integer over summers and stuff and have that engineering experience. That was definitely a leg up, and I kind of, it was close by, like, but some people wouldn't have that. Like, so it's, you got to be able to sell what you're gaining from whatever work experience you have. So in most workplaces, you're going to be working in a team where it's Tesco or McDonald's or an engineering firm. So even emphasize that kind of stuff that you are gaining that can apply in general to companies.
Definitely.
Rather than just to say I was there for these 3 years, that kind of a way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Listen, let me ask you about selling yourself, because what comes after a CV and an application is hopefully an interview. Everybody loves interviews, don't they? What would you say, Ena, when you were doing interviews? What was your experience of it, and what question came up that you went, "Oh God"?
I suppose firstly, and I suppose it can be overlooked a little bit, and I remember getting advice from a mentor, I suppose, is it your appearance and how you dress, like being, you know, not wearing something very casual, you know, wearing something like a blazer or a shirt, or like, be
smart, yeah.
I don't know, some sort, be smart, and like, you know, you're here for a job for an engineering firm in this case, and looking presentable and saying, right, I want to make a statement here. I suppose then when you're in the interview, I don't know, I always find that you need to, I suppose, shake the person's hand to say, look, like, I'm not kind of standoffish. I'm here to, you know, I want to be here. Then talking, I always find that, you know, trying to connect with the person in some sort of way is really important. I suppose then you're kind of making it more in a way personal, I'm going to say. I remember with one of my managers, when I first, let's say, interviewed, I was a phone call interview because of the time that I was applying. But I remember talking to him, and he had read my CV, and I had my background. I suppose as a child, I would have loved drama and doing they're called Lambda exams. So I would have done up to grade 7. And he actually picked up on it. He was like, "Oh, you did like drama and like the Lambda exams." And I was like, "Yeah, I did." I was like, "Yeah, though I loved drama, getting up on the stage, like, you know, whatever, acting out." And he was like, "Yeah, actually, I love singing and I love like acting as well. I was in the play." And it was like, you know, we had a bit of a laugh, and it was a bit of a connection. Like, it took away then any kind of fear that I would have had. I suppose, you know, when you're trying to get everything out and you're making sure you're trying to get all, I suppose, the right things said. having that kind of personal connection, having a bit of a laugh, if possible. Now, obviously, with it being within reason.
You don't want to be a comedian.
But I suppose having that connection, as I said, definitely takes away from the nerves, because I remember for my first few interviews, I used to always get so scared 5 minutes beforehand. Like I said, I always try and make some sort of connection or something that would be easy to talk about and that they'd have interest in. So I suppose definitely doing that in an interview would be really important. And I suppose that's what I found and helped me be successful in an interview that I've done.
Sean, how about yourself and the interview thing? Any weird questions come up?
I think my interview that I've had so far in, say, engineering terms have been quite relaxed. Like, in terms of integer, like, I was only really done 1 year of college, and I'm kind of just thinking about it, and a friend of ours was like, oh, there's a big, massive medical device company close by, you should try sending in your CV. So I sent in my CV, and I got called for an interview very soon, and I wouldn't even call it an interview, it was more just a very informal chat. We walked around the facility and we discussed things, and I even asked questions, and the person I was working for was kind of over the projects team, so he would have had design engineers and automation engineers and stuff under him. And some of the questions I asked him, his kind of response was, oh sure, that's kind of more your area, you'd know more about that than me. So it felt very comfortable nearly, and it was very informal conversations, and we kind of discussed things. And he kind of even took it that you're in second year,
nice.
You're doing automation engineering. No one, you've had the balls, I suppose, to ask and for a job, and you're not even on placement or got to a certain stage in college, but you want to learn. So, like, I was offered a job on the spot, like, there, and then in Jabil it was kind of the same thing. It was very just more of a conversation, and into they did ask obviously the general questions, but some of the things that even less technical questions, more generalized one, like project management and just good manufacturing practices, stuff like that. Some things that are the basics, and even your soft skills of just being able to talk and communicate in a team and write emails in a certain formal way, like, that's nearly as important as your technical skills. So it's nearly more the person than their skills that they're looking at, from my perspective.
Absolutely. So the top tip from both of you then is just be yourself. And I think that makes sense, because if they like you as a person, well, then you don't have to pretend as much when you get the gig, and you can just be yourself and you get in and you enjoy the job. For people who are listening and kind of looking at the CAO process, which is going to be coming up, just two quick questions for you on your experience. When you got the course and you went, yes, I'm in, what were the first things that you needed to sort out?
It was a matter of actually taking a moment and being able to be like, wow, I actually accomplished this. And honestly, that, like, when you read that piece of paper, you're almost in shock and your hands are kind of shaking. And, to be able to say, like, and to be able to take a moment and say to yourself, I did this, I actually did this. Like, and, have a moment to be like, well done me, pat in the back. Because, the hard work you need to put in for leaving cert, the pressure constantly, you're only as good as your last exam. The pressure is constant. And I suppose being able to actually appreciate yourself and go, well done you. It's really important. And then I suppose really it's a matter of getting things ready. Like, do you have your supplies, and kind of seeing figuring out what you kind of need to get you going. And I suppose it's nice as well then to obviously take time to celebrate a bit as well, and that. So definitely. Yeah.
How about yourself, Sean? What would you say were the first things you needed to sort out?
I was actually the year of the kind of COVID leaving cert with predictive grades. I made the decision then, so I got my course in Waterford, and I chose that because it was close to home and all. And I was actually initially looking at Limerick, and I decided to, when I got my grades, I'd done good in my leaving cert, all being predictive grades, and I decided I'm not doing college online. It's engineering, I want to see things hands-on and do in person. So I deferred the year, and I worked in known transfer as a warehouse operator, and then I came into the year after and started my college degree. So that's why I made in it. My thing was a bit different of a situation. I had a whole year to think about and organise a good laptop, and I think I spec'd a laptop that was looked at some of the things that was interesting. And something that I think is kind of amazing, or makes me always think about, is that I applied for the common entry engineering because I didn't want to do engineering, but I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. And mechanical engineering was actually on it the year I applied, and then it got taken off it in the span of me deferring it, and automation went on it, and automation is now what I'm doing. And I actually think mechanical would have been the one I wouldn't have went near, because I'm not that great at drawing. I'm more of a programmer than a drawer, so.
The universe is talking, Sean. The universe is talking. It's making things happen for you. I have one last question for each of you. Okay, if you're kind of going back just a few years and you were to give yourself advice, your younger self advice, when you were making that decision of filling out the CAO form, what would you say about choosing your current engineering discipline?
Well, I think even just a little bit further back into that, where choosing your subjects for your Leaving Cert, I chose all my subjects based on if they had a project or not. So I chose history, which is a massive project. Technology was something I was doing because it was close thing to engineering, and it was great. Got to design things and build circuits. And then I also chose I was two ways of choosing a science subject of physics or ag science. And because I was a farmer, I did choose the ag science route because there was a bigger project element to it. But physics was probably going to be another great option that I was going to choose as well. So I think even that prepared me for the level of the CA of, our project is some of the college and project work you do is as important as that 2-hour exam you do at the end of the semester. So I think if you're interested in working with your hands and problem solving, and not just, I suppose, learn as you do more than rattling things off in your brain, trying to write big long essays. A lot of our exams are more short term. So,
and Ena, for yourself, what advice would you give your younger self as you were filling out that CAO form?
Yeah, I suppose, like Sean was kind of saying, the subjects are really, really important, and I definitely feel that doing engineering, and I suppose NTU is such a hands-on university in their way of I suppose in how you do the different coursework. I did all sciences. I did biology, chemistry, physics, and I did applied maths. Definitely having the math side, I was happy with, and I loved the math side. But definitely when it came to the project work, I was kind of I'm well over my depth, especially with drawings. Again, being in an all-girls school at the time, they didn't have anything like that, I suppose, facilitated towards people who want to do engineering. And I definitely did struggle. So, I mean, especially if you're in a mixed school and you're, let's say, a woman in STEM, if you'd like to get into engineering, I do recommend doing some of the more engineering practical based subjects. I definitely know a lot of my classmates would have said the same, and some of the girls would have had opportunities to do this those kind of subjects, and which definitely benefited them. So I suppose if I was doing my Leaving Cert a couple of years down the line, I suppose my secondary school actually are implementing more of the engineering subjects. I think next year in my head, and I definitely would have definitely gone for those kind of subjects, which is great, I suppose. And I believe they're the first female secondary school doing this, so I'd like to take pride there in having attended it. But no, definitely choosing the subjects is really, really important. And also in terms of filling out the CAO, I know there's a level 7 option, level 8 option, and I think being able to put in courses from both those levels, for me personally, I had my level 7 mechanical, my level 8 mechanical, my level 7 biomedical, and then my level 8 biomedical, which was my second choice. And it always gave me comfort during my Leaving Cert that I said, if I didn't get the points to level 8, there's always the level 7 that I can fall back on within the college and work my way up. And I have a friend who did his level 7 in biomed engineering. He's doing his level 8. So basically you do 3 years for level 7, and then you join in with the third years who are doing level 8 and then finish off with your level 8. But he's going a step again and he's doing his master's. So he's he'd be in my year now. For seeing him, he's an extra year on the rest of us, let's say, or whomever does level 7 when joining the level 8. They just have that extra year, and even knowing different more hands-on knowledge again, which I think really benefits them. So I wouldn't discourage level 7. It's I'd actually really endorse it. I mean, if I had my time again, I actually wouldn't mind have done the level 7. I think it's a great opportunity, and again, the points are lower. It's easier to get the points, which is also, it takes a lot of stress off. And myself knowing that I had that option worst case scenario, if everything went belly up on the day of the exams, I had that fallback that I knew that I could do that. So I definitely recommend to everyone to literally to sign up for your level 7s and your level 8s. It's just equally as important.
Yeah, in most places you can work up, which is great. And just actually to even add to that point, a friend of mine took the approach of the level 7, then to level 8, and in our college you could do a mechanical, no, not all course, but mechanical in particular, you could do your level 7, then just 1 year add-on to get your level 8 in mechanical manufacturing. But he even found that although it was only 4 years, they didn't get to do the work placement. They got to have 2 college final year projects for level 7 and level 8. So that even in an interview, like, he had 2 projects that they were taking ownership of, and that was their work and kind of no one else's. And that's a great thing when it comes to even the CV. And even in choosing subjects, like, I'd always choose the higher level maths, because even a pass, you get the extra points and it prepares you more so for the engineering. Like, there is maths and engineering, no one can deny it. So you might as well do the higher level because you get the extra points, and it's, you know, to get a pass, you get the extra points, why not? In my school, we even found that there was a girls' school in the same town as us, and some people in our class would have went up there to do music and home ec, and their students would have came down to us and done technology and DCG and stuff. So, like, even if you have the opportunity, look for it, and even ag science, people came down and done as well because they didn't do it in that school. So if you come down and even look at what options are available to you when you're doing your CEO and your 5th, 6th year, because opportunities like that of you could go to a different school or do something in your own time, your own subject, is great, and it might benefit in the future.
Listen, let's leave it at that for now. To learn more about Ena and Sean's experiences, you can find links to their profiles and the Engineers Ireland Young Engineers Society in the description area of this podcast. But for now, Ena O'Driscoll and Sean Ryan, thank you both so much for sharing your experience.
Thanks, Dusty.
Thanks for having us.
If you know a student who would appreciate these insights, please do share this podcast with them. They can find it simply by searching for Engineers Ireland wherever they listen to podcasts. Our episode was produced by dustpod.io for Engineers Ireland. For more information on engineering or career development advice, you can find a wealth of resources on the website at engineersireland.ie. Until next time, from myself, Dusty Rhodes, thank you for listening.